What's going on, Clippers fans? Welcome to a little bonus lunch hang here on Clips and Dip to talk Kawhi Leonard practicing full contact, going on the road trip. He will not be playing, but that's fine. I think we can all get our hopes up adequately without that. I am Chuck Mockler, usually joined by Adam Oslin and Will Updike. Going to invite those guys right now just to talk this Kawhi news. This is great news. We here at Clips and Dip kind of wanted to make sure that, the first box checked was practice, and we got the light practice timeline. And then we got fantastic news today from Law Murray and Tomer and all the great beat writers that Kawhi Leonard had a full contact practice. The biggest stuff we can get. Thank you, Deca Fantastic. I will. You should too. We should all be telling the streets that the Clippers are back up. Devin, thank you for the hat. I need to get a new one. It's getting blasted by the sun. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to everybody. Kawhi Leonard is fully practicing. Derrick Jones Jr. also ahead of schedule, which is great. But the big news, Kawhi is traveling on the trip. He will not be playing against Dallas or Memphis. They have 2 games against Dallas Thursday and Saturday, and then they play Memphis. Hey, what's up, Shanina? Hope you're doing well. Merry Christmas. Haven't seen you in a minute. He will not play the 2 games against Dallas, and he will not play against Memphis. Fine. I'm happy for the home fans that he gets to return. Alex Webb in here on the chat saying December 27th seems like the day. It certainly does, Alex. The Clippers play the Warriors that day. I love that return for Kawhi Leonard. We've already beat the Warriors twice. It's a matchup nightmare for the Warriors, this Clippers team, without Kawhi. As we've seen, they're pretty flummoxed by this team. So I love him coming back against the Warriors. It's at home. The fans get to see Kawhi come back. Selfishly, I'm happy for them. And it's great. It's going to be important for the standings. This is the best news. Luca E23 saying, is it even allowed to be as back as we are? I love everyone saying that we're back because Kawhi isn't even back yet. We're just excited about this this practice news. I'm having a seasonal eggnog beverage during my lunch break. Yeah, I feel great about this. Kind of back to what Alex was saying. This is the perfect timeline, right? I'm just going to screen share real quick. Law Murray has been great with these updates, kind of keeping everyone level-headed and kind of what we should be looking at. So what to look out for kind of as these things go on. Can we make this look any better? This looks horrible. Ugh, there we go. He's practiced contact 5-on-5, continuing the process, travel, making sure there's no setbacks or swelling. So a lot of people on Twitter were kind of talking about, like, why is he traveling if he's not going to play? And the simple fact for that is so he can practice because you have to see how the practice reacts, right? It's his first full contact practice, and who knows, a very long time. So they want him on the road trip so he can practice, kind of get used to that schedule. And it makes total sense. I don't really think anyone's upset with this update at all. I don't think any of us wanted Kawhi to rush back and things like that. So it's great. He is going to be on a minutes restriction. That was discussed too. Let me see if I can find the full tweet for that. I don't think that's a really big surprise to anybody. It will be a minutes restriction. Don't really know when it's going to be lifted, but we'll go from there. It was also talked about how if he was going to come off the bench, Ty Lue called that experiment nasty 2 years ago when Kawhi came off the bench. So I don't think he's going to come off the bench. There will be a minutes restriction. I personally don't think he'll come off the bench because it was such a nightmare. It was not good last time. So we'll see about that. Deca Fantastic saying, all right, Chuck, give us the games you expect Kawhi to play in January. Well, let me pull up the Clippers schedule. Clippers play. I mean, I'm looking at the schedule right now. There's a back-to-back on the 15th and the 16th. I would not expect him to play in the back-to-back for the 15th and 16th. If he's on a minutes restriction, I still don't see him playing in the back-to-backs. I don't think that's that crazy. Like, I don't think any of us want that to happen, right? So we have Clippers Thunder January 2nd. And this is assuming everything goes well, Decca. Thank you for this question, but we're assuming this is everything going well. He's playing against the Thunder. I see him playing against the Hawks. That is a 3-4. He's taking one of these 3 games off, would be my guess, or one of these 4. There's a lot of games and a lot of difficult games right here. So he's probably taking one of these off between the Thunder. I would hope it's the Hawks, just for standings wise, right? The standings are still very tight. The Clippers have been playing well, but they're still like 2 games out of the 12 seed or whatever. Not playing one of these games. Probably not playing one of these back-to-backs, especially with travel. Would love for him. He has to play on January 19th versus the Lakers. He has to play in that game. We need that to happen. He's taking one of these games off against the Celtics and the Bulls. Probably the Celtics game. Who knows? And then, I don't know. I guess I might sit him against these Eastern Conference teams. Sit him against the Hornets. They're bad. Sit him against the Bulls. They're bad. Nets are horrible. Hornets are horrible. Hawks are difficult to play always for the Clippers. But, like, sit him against the East, I guess, would kind of be how I'm feeling about it. Put how you're feeling in the chat about Kawhi being back. I know we're all very excited. We got a good update about Derrick Jones Jr. too. Derrick Jones Jr. Did practice today, not in the full contact and scrimmage portion, but he's, I don't know if ahead of schedule is the right word. Well, he is ahead of schedule. Derrick Jones Jr. is ahead of schedule per Lomari, so there we go. He's going to be huge. I'm curious to see how the Clippers look. Adam and I are going to do an episode later tonight for everybody where we're talking about this matchup against the Mavs. Not having Derrick Jones Jr. is huge in this matchup, which sucks, but I don't know. It can still be won. Just happy that Kawhi Leonard is back. Happy that we're all excited. How do you guys feel about him playing in back-to-backs? I don't think he should. I don't want, like, at this point, whatever positives we can get from Kawhi Leonard, keep him out of the back-to-backs. I don't care about that. It's going to be interesting. I don't think he's coming off the bench. It's just, it doesn't make sense for me. From my perspective, it doesn't make sense to bring Kawhi Leonard off the bench. He's not going to do that when he's healthy. The starters need as much time together as possible. Kawhi is a very plug-and-play player into the starting 5. I'm not making it seem like it's going to be that difficult to integrate him into the starting 5, but you still have to do that integration. You know what I mean? So I don't want him to come off the bench. It just doesn't, I don't see the point. You can still have a minutes restriction. He can still play in the 4th. They just got to manage the minutes. We got a whoop whoop bang. We don't need him to play back-to-backs. Thank you. Why not the Clippers? Devin, who I believe complimented my hat earlier, said, the way the team has performed, I would love to see a minutes restriction and manage that injury as much as possible for the foreseeable future. Team is built to handle him being out, as we've seen. Yes, they are built to deal with him being out. That mentality has been shown so far, which we are very happy to see through the Clippers. So, yeah, and their plan, right? We've heard this. They've done a good job of making it very clear that they don't want to deal with this shit again. No one involved. The team, Kawhi. When Kawhi is back, they don't want to have any setbacks, which is why I think we're going to see the minutes restriction. I mean, we know we're going to see a minutes restriction, and he's probably not going to be on back-to-backs. But I'm fine with that. Just have him be out there. Why not the Clippers said, when do you think he'll be back on the court? December 27th feels, I don't want to say inevitable, because nothing is inevitable with Kawhi Leonard, except for when he's on the court. it's stacking up to the 27th. We have to see how the practice goes when they're in Dallas and when they're in Memphis. Hopefully, swelling, everything stays fine. There's no setbacks. If there's no setbacks, he will be on the court on the 27th, I think. Yes, and Kawhi, because he practiced fully, there should be some media availability today. I'm not, who knows? The Clippers are a little weird. If you've been a fan of this team, you know they're a little weird with player availability. So we should expect Kawhi quotes soon, possibly today. He fully practiced today, so there should be some Kawhi quotes. I don't think it's crazy to expect those to come out today. What they will be, I don't think we can really. We know what Kawhi's going to say, right? Just getting healthy, make sure there's no setbacks, wants to get out there, not have to come back. I don't think the Kawhi quotes will be super spicy, but they will be coming. You are correct about that, Deca. Fantastic. Great question. Status on Terance Mann. Law Murray reporting he's continuing to do his rehab. He was back on the court. He did a little bit of shooting and stuff today, which is great. His timeline's probably closer to 4 weeks. He's going to be reevaluated next week, likely on the trip to New Orleans, San Antonio, and OKC, which is the end of this month. So the 30th. So Terance Mann seemingly coming back on the 30th, or that's where it's kind of lining up. Derrick Jones Jr. ahead of schedule. All of these guys are rising up to return to the Clippers together. And that feels great. Cheers to that. A little lunch, Trader Joe's eggnog. Ooh, a little stiff. So yeah, Terance Mann on schedule. Derrick Jones Jr. ahead of schedule. Kawhi Leonard, we weren't given a schedule, but seemingly back on the 27th is what all the smoke is pointing towards. They're not going to give a date. Don't expect them to give a date until like the day before, or something like that. So, I mean, a great day of Clippers news for Clippers fans, right? It feels good. The vibrations are right. Goofy, love that name. This is not a stupid question. They are wondering, does minute restriction or load management affect rust on Kawhi, or is he more likely to be not as rusty as Embiid? I don't think he'll be as rusty. They've done so much to get Kawhi just kind of on this like slow and steady path up to coming back that I don't think we're going to see a ton of rust. We're going to see a normal amount of someone who hasn't played NBA basketball in a not insignificant amount of time, but we're not going to see, I don't think we're going to see a slow start, right? I don't think we're going to see, if he plays in the game on the 27th, which is already a good matchup for the Clippers, that's a great game to kind of get into his rhythm from. I love that as the start, again, just for his flow and getting back into that stuff. The Pelicans are in shambles. I feel bad for the Pels. They're in shambles, so that's a nice little game he can come back to, too. Spurs are weird. He has a chance to put together, in the context of coming back from an injury like this, 3 really strong games before being tested incredibly hard versus the Thunder on the second, right? So if Kawhi comes back on the 27th, plays every game, that's the Warriors, the Pelicans, the Spurs. Other than the Jazz being thrown in there, there's not a lot of other like Western Conference teams you'd want him to play. I don't think he's going to be that rusty. There's going to be some rust, as we know. I'm not going to say he's not coming back at an all NBA level. He might. Defensively, we'll see. This team is so well put together defensively that I'm not super worried about that rust at all. So I think with the schedule coming back, I think he's going to be fine. I think the minutes restriction is good. We don't want to be in limbo. We don't want Kawhi limbo right now. So not a stupid question. Thank you for it. Oh yeah. There is going to be if Kawhi is returning on the 27th, buy your tickets now would be would be my advice, because Intuit Dome is going to be crazy, as it should be. I'm so happy for the fans. If he returns on the 27th, I'm really happy for the fans. No Laughing Matter says, are you happy with the level of dog the Clippers have shown? Is there a dog meter? Can anyone send me some kind of dog meter? We can look at that. I think it's very difficult to be unhappy with this Clippers season so far. Ty Lue's coached his ass off. I think we need to give credit to Ty Lue for that. But we were sold a bill of goods in the preseason that was, this is going to be a defensive-minded team. They're going to be annoying as hell to play against. We're there. We are absolutely annoying as hell to play against. Chris Dunn has been a huge culture piece for this team. Taking away his probably first team all defense play that's been wonderful. I think Chris Dunn has been a big culture piece for this Clippers team. He's been phenomenal. Jeff Van Gundy, as we all know, has been huge with the defense and instilling this mindset. We watched it against the Jazz, right? We beat the shit out of the Jazz, not just because Harden had 41. We smothered them on defense. When Harden was having a 24-point first quarter, the defense was annoying to play against. I love it. I could not be happier with how the Clippers have started this season. They're starting this season exactly how they kind of could have, not having Kawhi Leonard. Harden's been playing out of his mind. Norm Powell has been better than any of us expected. That's no disrespect to Norm. I just don't think any of us thought he was going to be better than Paul George. Well, maybe. But it's been great. I've loved it. It's been a really fun season, just compared to kind of, you talk about this dog mentality. It's been cool to see it, because we were always told that that's what they wanted to do in the 2-1-3 era, right? Was like, hey, we got Wingstop, we got all this, and it just never came to fruition. But one of our co-hosts, Will Updike, said this great on the last episode. They show up to games that they should win, and they show up to games that they probably shouldn't win, and they play hard no matter the opponent, which has been a huge issue for the Clippers. You know what I mean? Like, that's been an issue. Yes, Quentin. The Jazz are taking for Clipper flag. But leading up to that Clippers game, they have a better offense than the Clippers on the season. If you look at offensive rating, they have the worst defense in the league by a country mile. So this is a great question. What's the starting lineup now? So let's call everyone healthy. Let's start 2025. Everyone's healthy. Adam and I are going to talk about this later on the show. Is Norm going back to the bench? I don't know. Do you go James Harden, Chris Dunn, Kawhi, Derrick Jones, Zoo? Norm was brought up from the bench to help with the starting lineup scoring. But if Kawhi Leonard is back, and you can have Chris Dunn, Kawhi Leonard, Derrick Jones Jr., Ivica Zubac out there together, that makes the defense better. This is no shade towards Norm Powell. Send your ideas. It's a difficult choice. Chris Dunn's shooting has been bad. It doesn't really help the bench to put Chris Dunn out there with KPJ, because neither of them are efficient. I think you got to keep Dunn in the starting lineup, and you turn this Clippers team into the most annoying ass team to play against. And this is going to be an option too, right? Like Harden, Norm, Kawhi, Derrick. Like, that's not a crazy this is a great lineup too. Like the two options that there really are, which is it's either Norm or Dunn, are still good. Like, it's hard to figure out. This is a good point though, because Norm is gonna cook wherever he is. I don't think we're at risk of losing Norm mentally. But this is a good point, Rock. I like this point. And this is why being a head coach is incredibly difficult, right? Like what the hell? Now we're at the embarrassment of riches point a little bit, right? Like, now we're at this point where it's like, well, shit. But both of these guys are good, and they bring such different things. Done off the bench to sub his first guard. Yeah, it's not bad. Not a bad idea. Again, I'm not against any of these ideas. It's a hard decision. There's good arguments for both sides. I don't know what the answer is. I hope that there's only one answer and we just do that. And because also Ty doesn't, Ty's shrinking the rotation. Ty doesn't want a bigger rotation. If the Clippers are able to, because is KPJ out of the rotation? Jordan Miller's minutes are gone. If Norm goes to the bench, KPJ's minutes are seriously in jeopardy, which is fine. Right. Norm is incredibly consistent with offense, and the bench has been bad. It's a tough option. Adam and I talked about this a couple episodes ago. If Norm Powell goes to the bench, we should just trade him to Chicago in a Zach LaVine deal. No. Yeah, so this sucks for Jordan Miller. But there's no two ways about it. He's in limbo. It sucks. He should get more time, but there's no spot for him. Now that the Clippers are showing what they're made of, which they have up until Kawhi comes back, we're assuming in 11 days or whatever, there's no room for him. If this team is going to compete, which they have stated that is the goal. They're the 9th seed right now. They are a half a game out of the 5th seed. They're 2.5 games out of the 4th seed. They're 2 games out of the 12th seed. Ty wants a shorter rotation that he's going to want to work with in the playoffs or play in, depending what happens. I don't know. It's a nightmare. Oh yeah, I forget that this guy loves KPJ. Norm on the second unit isn't a main ball handler, and the rest of the guys aren't shot creators. He would be, though. KPJ is bad, but he does do things that the Clippers need, right? He's not a bad defender. He can find guys when he wants to. He's a decent rebounder. He's just a very bad shooter. So we'll see. Yeah, Jordan Miller's going to get some spot minutes. I don't think he's not going to be in the full 9-guy rotation. You know what I mean? It's going to be weird. We'll see what happens. The good news is that Kawhi Leonard is going to be back. Why are they taking so long to get KPJ punishment? Rather get it now since we have players coming back. I don't know. That's a league investigation thing. I have no information about that. I don't think anyone does. So we just have to wait. I have no idea. But yeah, we're going to have a full episode for y'all later. Kawhi Leonard seemingly coming back. I would take a pencil or an erasable pen, circle that December 27th date against the Warriors. Erasable. Make sure you can maybe change it. But right now, all the smoke is going towards Kawhi returning back to the Clippers against the Warriors on the 27th. He will have 3 pretty nice get-right games to have before they play the Thunder at that time. Let's just bask in this good Clippers news. Derrick Jones Jr. ahead of schedule. Terance Mann on schedule. Kawhi Leonard seemingly coming back. If anyone is in the comments just standing for KPJ, you're just stop. Well, Adam and I are going to have an episode for y'all around 6 or something like that. Thank you for hanging out. Let's all get back to work. Enjoy our eggnogs or whatever your seasonal beverage you're enjoying. And as always, let's go Clips.